Nice out today. Wow.
A little breezy.
A little breezy. Birds were singing though, and it's really nice. So, with every Sunday, we like to start the service with a song called "This Is the Day," and we hope that everybody would join in, help us sing it, bring up the spirit, and please rise and help us with it as you can.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the West Valley Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Sue Witter. I'm one of the practitioners here, and I want to welcome you and thank you for taking time out of your busy life. All of us have busy lives, and so thank you for taking time out for yourself to honor the truth of who you are and to allow your heart to be opened and expanded, because that's what always happens there, at least for me. So thank you. I'm grateful you're all here. Let's start with the vision statement. It is, if you will say this with me, we are a loving, joy-filled community honoring the many paths to God as we learn and live the science of mind principles. And I had to drop that one in really first because I don't know why. I've only been doing this for a lot of years. We won't even count. Anyway, so Kay Fontana is our practitioner for the day, and thank you as always to the Bradfords for their joyful music. We have prayer requests that you can put in at the box in the back, and I believe I'm still on home space. There's a prayer box too. Yes, good. Okay. And one thing I want you to know is the practitioners love to pray for you. So please, open your heart and allow us to give you that gift. So from an announcements perspective, Reverend Karen is still doing spiritual practices on Thursday at 1:30, and it's still going strong from what I understand. That's good. And Wednesdays, there's a healing circle that Well to Being, who is one of our tenants, correct? Yeah. Well to Being and Healing Our Grieving Hearts is offering an interactive discussion on various wellness topics. So please join us Wednesdays from 3:30 to 4:30. And Kay, that's Kay. Excellent. And Reverend Susan, wave your hand, Reverend Susan. Yes, let's have that Miss America wave going on. She's going to be teaching a visioning class starting May 23rd, Thursday, May 23rd to June 27th. It's a six-week class from 11 to 1. And really, visioning is one of the most amazing things that we teach that it allows you to open your heart and your mind to that vision of the divine that's higher than ours. I always like to tell the Carolyn May story that says, how do you know when it's God's good idea for you or your good idea? When it's God's good idea, you usually say, are you kidding me? I don't know about your life, but that's the way my life works usually. So do come and join Reverend Susan in that. It's really quite an amazing experience. And the last one is that the men are having a retreat. They've canceled that. All right, well, then the men are not having a retreat. And it's been canceled. But Reverend Susan also has a drumming circle every third Saturday of the month. So this month, it's May 18th from 11 to 12. That is also a tremendous amount of fun. So there's always something good going on here. Please join us. And there's more in the bulletin. So I believe it's time for the Bradfords to just take us within and allow us to center and be still.
So take a deep breath, relax as we go within.
I will make a quiet place within my heart. I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord.
Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know.
I will make a quiet place within my mind, and I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord.
Be still, my soul, be still. Be still, my soul, be still. Be still and know.
I will make a quiet place within my life, and I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord. I will make a quiet place.
Be still and know that God is in this place. God is everywhere, in everything, every being, every situation in this universe. Everything is God, from the grass that grows to the clouds floating across the sky to the trees that blow in the wind and everything else. It is all God. And knowing that God is that expression of love and peace and joy and kindness and love. Everything that is good is God. And I know that within each one of us in this room and each one watching online and those who are not with us today are those divine expressions of God and all the good there is. And I speak a word of blessing for each one of us here in this room and all others, knowing that we are all divine expressions of that one God. And everything that we do, everything that we see, everything that we know, and everything that we are one with Sweet Spirit. And a word of blessing for the Bradfords, knowing that their beautiful music touches our hearts and souls, and that every note that they sing and play is that divine harmony of God. And for all of those in service today, that they are in the right place at the right time, doing service for this center. And for Reverend Karen, knowing that her message today is the Word of God speaking through her. That everything that she says today is divinely spoken and a beautiful nugget that we can each take home with us, where we can grow and be. And with great gratitude, I am so blessed to be here. I'm so blessed for this center. And with that divine love and gratitude, I release my words into the law, knowing that it is already done, it is so, and so it is. My reading today is from the Buddhist Boot Camp by Timber Hawkeye. And he was here, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe? Kind of lost track with COVID. Yes, I believe it was. So this is in the chapter called Love is the Recognition of Beauty. A flower doesn't stop being beautiful just because somebody walks by without noticing it. Nor does it cease to be fragrant if the scent is taken for granted. The flower just continues to be its glorious self, elegant, graceful, and magnificent. Our Mother Nature has provided us with these immeasurable, valuable teachers that blossom despite their short lifespan, stars that continue to shine even if we fail to stare at them, and trees that don't take it personally if we never bow down in gratitude for the oxygen they provide. We also have an incredible and unlimited capacity to love. But the question is, can we do it like a flower? Without needing to be admitted, adored, or even noticed? Can we open our hearts completely to give, forgive, celebrate, and joyfully live our lives without hesitation or need for reciprocity? And he goes on to say, make an effort to shine no matter what, to love unconditionally, and to be a kind and gentle soul, even when nobody is watching. And if you're so inclined, hug the next tree you see and say, thank you. And he closes by saying, everything has its beauty, but not everyone can see it. Confucius. And let's take that into contemplation for a moment. And so it is.
Okay, so this next one is sort of a sing-along, and we'd like you to join in. I think Kendra's going to bring up the words maybe on the second round, so you guys can hear what it sounds like. But we're hoping that everybody might want to join in.
It's really easy.
It's a real knee slapper, so...
I am planting seeds of love in my heart. I am planting seeds of love in my heart. And as they grow, I'll take them everywhere I go. I am planting seeds of love and as they grow, they overflow in every part of my heart, heart to heart, friend to friend. Sing it out again. I am planting seeds of love in my heart. I am planting seeds of love in my heart. And as they grow, I'll take them everywhere I go. I am planting seeds of love in my heart. I am planting seeds of love in my heart. I am planting seeds of love in my heart. And as they grow, I'll take them everywhere I go. I am planting seeds of love in my heart. I am planting seeds of love in my heart. Yeehaw.
Oh, that was fun. That was great. What a good pick for the message I'm about to deliver. Good morning. Man, you look pretty today. What's up? Why do you all look so shiny and happy and brilliant today? Well, welcome to the West Valley Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Karen Rice, and I'm happy to be here. What a fun day. What a lot of stuff we have going on. As always, it's always a little disorienting when Reverend Clyde isn't here. Do you notice that Reverend Clyde was gone, and then I was gone, and now he's gone again? Does that mean I get to take next week off too? So I like the pattern. It's going in the right direction for me. I am talking today about the inner landscape, and I'm piggybacking on the theme that hundreds of ministers, hundreds of CSL, Centers for Spiritual Living ministers are, every week we're given these potential themes we can dabble in, and I try and, once a month or so, I try to not be a rebel and independent. So today is one of the talks that I'll be giving from sort of an outline that they provide. So I loosely say outline. It's in the beginning. I'll tell you what's theirs. The rest of it is the way I tweaked it. But we're talking about the sort of the transformative power that we have as individuals to change our world. So not to change the world, but it starts in that inner work that we each are called to do as we are born into this incarnation of being a human on the planet at this particular time. And so through spiritual practices, and this would not be just about the teachings of New Thought or anything Ernest Holmes said, the founder of this teaching, but this is in a more universal way. We're looking at the way all spiritual traditions have some suggestion that there's an inner shift that can occur when we align ourselves to spiritual principles, when we get clear and we grow our faith and we practice using the tools that we can, as we age and as we move through our own experiences, we get to hone sort of our skills, or sort of hone our skills would be more proper maybe. But we're not talking about changing the outer world. The thing is, we do know that as we change our own inner world, as we allow ourselves to shift and get more aligned to universal truths, that we do impact what's happening in the physical world around us. So you might say that as we look at the collective of humanity, that we can see that all of humankind, for all the generations up till right now, we've made some good choices, and we've made some choices that we're now trying to reverse so that we can get things in a healthy, balanced way again. And if we don't do it, it won't matter, because Mother Nature, she'll know how to rectify it. I'm not sure where we'll land in the mess, but as soon as we know better, we start making better decisions, and we then contribute in a more positive way. And so that's what we're talking about this morning, that inner landscape, the inner world, sort of grooming your own ideas, beliefs, and therefore your actions, how you participate. In the material that CSL circulated to all the ministers, I don't usually quote from the way they guide us, but I want to tell you that in the statement they made about the purpose, the objectives of today's message, they said that we know that as we grow our faith, as we practice these things and we grow our faith, it helps us to overcome our doubts and fears. And for me, that's a big part of ministry. That's a big part of my call to be ambitious enough to present a message every Sunday morning, because I believe that it's the fear and the contagion of fear and the way we doubt and the way that we worry, those are our biggest problems. And as we live and we sort of wizen through the practice of making better and better choices, in maneuvering through life, we can see that those then have a positive impact on our own personal lives. So in the material, they said, our faith grows, we overcome our doubts and our fears, and then we begin to walk through life with a greater sense of certainty and confidence. And here's the quote I wanted to make sure you heard in their words, because it seems pretty to me. As our inner landscape melds with these new beliefs, as we recreate our ability to look out and have a perspective on what's happening in our lives and in the world, as we try on these new beliefs then become the first cause of our existence. First cause. We're planting seeds of possibility that are not effect, but they're cause. So we're consciously changing things. And then when we do that, when we actually get our beliefs to shift, and sometimes it's just a tiny little direction, then voila, suddenly we notice that we are indeed changing our world. And when I change my world, everybody that loves me and hangs out with me, they're a little happier too, because I'm not as grumpy, and I'm a little more centered, and yeah, because I'm not the only one, right? Thank you. So I think it's interesting to notice that there are a lot of spiritual lessons where the metaphor or the idea, the symbolic idea of a garden and planting seeds, it just shows up kind of in every spiritual faith or spiritual books that you might pick up and read. So in this teaching, we talk about the creative process of life. It's that colorful symbol back there in the corner that teaches us to understand how life comes to be the way it is. And in that teaching, you'll see that it's separated into 3 sections, and we talk about the seed, the soil, and the plant. And there you have our garden metaphor and the way that we use it in teaching spiritual principles. The reason it's a common theme in spiritual teachings is because it's relatable. Even if you don't garden, all of us come to understand, even children understand, that you plant a flower seed, you know what kind of flower you're planting, or you want a new seed in your vegetable garden, you can grow specific and intentional types of vegetables in your garden. And of course, it's not that simple. There are lots of steps to it. But it's a great beginning to understand that the same is true of our lives. That there's this creative field, this creative medium of infinite possibilities. And that we, with our ideas and with our beliefs and with our attitudes, we're always planting seeds of possibility. And then guess what? They take root and they sprout and they become our experiences, the situations we move through, and the conditions in our personal lives. So what we know is that there's a process for planting. First, you till. You got to get things fresh and aerated and all of that. And then you can put your seeds of intention in the ground, and if you tend to those things, then you will have good results at the other end of it. But it starts by intending your mind. The way we aerate the soil of our minds is by good intentions, by being decisive, by being purposeful. I like the word choosy. Be choosy what kind of things you think about, because you're planting seeds of what's going to sprout up in your life in the future. And certainly we know that unexpected things happen. You know, storms move through town, and today the wind, they say, is going to blow, and that'll happen, and then it'll pass, and it'll be all over. But the gardener or the farmer knows not to give up hope just because there was too much rain or not enough rain, and maybe we're going through a little drought time. The farmer and the gardener, they don't give up. They keep their eye on the prize, and they do what they need to do to try and ensure that there's still a possible crop ahead of them. And so some seasons we know are more challenging than other seasons, in the same way that the seasons of our lives can be more challenging at one time as compared to another time. But we don't give up. We just keep moving. Things happen. Plants are vulnerable to diseases. I was just reading something on potato blight or something like that. And insects, there are times where pests will interfere with good crop harvests. Have you been hearing on the news about the cicadas in the Midwest? Aren't you glad you don't live there right now? So if you haven't heard, I have family in the suburbs of Chicago, and a phenomenon is about to happen. It's happening right now. It's just the beginning of it. And the predictions are that it's going to be quite an experience of millions and billions, and some experts are even saying trillions of cicadas will be finding their wings, making their way out of the dark and into the light, and that the Midwest, certain areas in the Midwest, are going to be inundated with these flying large creatures that make that wang wang noise, I always do the wang wang because I lived in the South. In the South, the cicadas, well, we always called them katydids for start. I lived in Arkansas for 15 minutes, but katydids, 4 years. So I had 4 seasons of cicadas. But in Arkansas, they would go, wah, wah, wah. It was a really beautiful song. But I noticed that we have them here, or in the Midwest, they just are all a certain sound. Now, they say that their sound combined can be louder than a chainsaw. I read one article that said if all the cicadas that are coming up to lay eggs right now, if they were all humming at the same time, that they could drown out the sound of a jet taking off at O'Hare. Trillions of them. My nieces are frightened. They have children and they don't like bugs, none of them, and it's a scary thing. But see, the reason it's phenomenal is because some cicadas come out every year, once a year. But there's another kind of cicada that stays in the ground for 13 years. And there's another kind of cicada that only comes up every 17 years. And you know what's happening this year? 2 of the giant broods are coming up at the same time. And it's not that it's the first time it's happened. It's just that it only happens every 221 years. The last time it happened, Thomas Jefferson was president. Oh, they're in for something in the Chicago area. Mark, are you glad you moved? This would be a weird, although it almost seems like it would be fun to go see it. Fred, what?
I'm glad I moved too.
Yeah, oh, you're glad you moved too. Yes, yes. And if you're listening online and you live in that area, we love you so much. We know that you're planting new seeds of possibility and first cause for how you're going to get through the next couple of weeks. But you're going to get through it, I promise. It'll be fine. The thing about cicadas is they don't hurt anybody. And they don't even eat crops. There are only a few trees that they actually love and will go to. And those trees are mature and older, and they'll probably be fine. They're going to eat well, I'm sure. But they don't hurt anybody. And there are environmental benefits to this process of the cicadas. I also read that one cicada that lives underground for 17 years. They're not eggs waiting to hatch. They hatch and then they're nymphs. They're like worms in the ground, and they only will live in 1 square meter of earth for their whole 17 years of their life. 1 square meter, what's that? How many, who knows? 3 feet? 3 by 3. 3 by 3. That's a little tiny world for their whole lives. But they are good for the environment because they become a really valuable food source to birds and other predators. They aerate the lawns, your lawns in the dirt. You know, they're turning the dirt constantly, and that improves the water filtration in the ground. And then they add nutrients to the soil in those years they're living there, but also as they decompose, because they won't all live to come up and grow wings and lay eggs. So the good news is they are not grasshoppers, they're not locusts, they're not going to eat the crops, they don't want anybody's pretty flower garden, and they don't want your vegetable garden, though I understand that it's a little early for planting those things. They just had snow like 10 days ago maybe, so they probably don't have their vegetables in the ground yet anyhow. But it's kind of creepy. It's kind of creepy. It'll be hard to not step on them, and I don't know. But if I look at this idea, you know, if for those people who do live in the Midwest, what we can see is that information, the very fact that they can predict, approximate anyhow, but it's pretty close, that they can predict when this big rush of creepy crawlies is going to hit them. That's fascinating information. They didn't always have that information. I mean, who was the first one to figure out 221 years? And by the way, it won't happen again for another 221 years. So with that knowledge, they can make decisions. So if I was going to plant, if I lived in the Midwest right now, and I was going to plant a new seed, a first cause, so that I can have a different experience of the effect of the coming of the cicadas, my seed I would plant would be, first of all, I'd probably stock up on stuff so I don't have to go to the grocery store, or don't have too much need to get out in public for a couple weeks. I might rearrange my schedule, and I would know that I don't have to be afraid of them because I've done this research. Now, I did the research for us. I didn't do the research to feel safer with the cicadas. But do you see how it works? When you get the information and you use it and apply it, you can see that this too, the cicada explosion, this too shall pass. And then there may be cicadas next year, but it will seem really, really less, a small number, and they won't have the big one for another 200 years. So you plant new seeds so that you can build faith in what's possible instead of sitting around and worrying about how awful it's going to be and how creepy it is to think of it and all of those other things. You build faith in the positive things that will feed your confidence in a uplifting sort of way. We strengthen a new cause within us by the way that we think of it. Whether it's a negative cause or a positive cause is up to the way we direct our own thinking. So to be strengthened by a first cause would be to be motivated and inspired in new possibilities. How can I look at this from a different way? All the normal stuff we talk about every week here. The spiritual qualities include things like peace of mind, wanting to be comfortable and to feel safe in our worlds, And that begins by having an open mind, an open heart, so that the flow of love is moving, God's love, an awareness of the presence of God right where we are. And we can have that as we play with these spiritual qualities, because in that way we are grooming our own inner landscape. We're circulating good thoughts. It is another variation of the law of circulation. What are you circulating in your mind? What kind of atmosphere of thought are you creating? So Dr. Holmes would word it this way. This is how Ernest Holmes wrote in this thing called You. He said, plant love in your garden. This is why I love this song you picked, Kathy. Plant love in your garden. Kindness and understanding are lighted from the inner altar of love. Oh gosh, I love that image of just saying that word. The inner altar of love is just, you can hold that in a precious way in your mind. So if I think of an altar, you know, I have, many of us have altars we have created in our homes, and what you do at your altar, the word literally translates to something I wrote down here somewhere. Bubbly and, I can't remember now, bubbly and fresh and bubbly. Isn't that interesting? Fresh and bubbly. And so the idea is that we put on the altar things that will uplift and inspire you when you look at them. Items that you name as sacred or holy in your own life and in your own experience. Here's a quote for you. Guess who said this? I want to see where you go with this. Guess who said these bold, straightforward words? It's not me. Who? No. Wait, let me read the quote first. Then you can guess. Actually, I don't think he would say this, but I love you. See, you are playful today. Here's the quote. You can have anything you want if you want it badly enough. Oprah. Nope, not Oprah. Maybe. Who? Oh, I don't know. Maybe. The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard from The Wizard of Oz. No, you know who said that? It wasn't Lady Gaga. It wasn't Taylor Swift. It wasn't any great athletes. It was Abraham Lincoln. But that's just the first part of the quote. The quote says, he said, you can have anything you want. You can be anything you want to be. You can do anything you set out to accomplish if you hold to that desire with a singleness of purpose. Hold to that desire with a singleness of purpose. Be clear in what you intend. Now, as I thought about that, I was thinking, you know what happens when I say a quote like this? This happens often through the years. This has happened to me. You can have anything you want if you want it badly enough. If I say something like that, some of you, many of you, probably most of us, the first thing we go to is, well, what do I want badly? And people will come to me after I give a talk like this and go, Reverend Karen, what if you don't want anything? What if you have everything you need? Well, that's wonderful. I'm so happy because all of us really have everything we need, at least within the sound of my voice, because you can afford technology of some sort. You probably have everything you need. It's a first world problem. But what I know is that there are qualities, divine qualities. There are desires in everyone's heart for things that we want that are not about more stuff. It's not about the acquisition of more stuff. And it's so funny, if I say a quote like that, what most people hear is that I'm encouraging you to want more stuff. You can want more stuff. I still get happy when the Amazon guy stops at my door. You know, it's like, I still love that. I've never had too many books yet. But what if we could look at it in terms of qualities? What if we could imagine that when he says you can have anything you want, I think right away of the temperament, maybe not temperament, but the way we picture who Abraham Lincoln is. right? So, Honest Abe. And so I think of character. And then I think of immediately of the Emma Curtis Hopkins quote, what characteristics every night before I close my eyes in slumber, she says, I dwell on what it is I desire to accomplish in the morrow and what characteristics I desire to exhibit in the day that's ahead of me. And so what if we thought about it like that? Instead of stuff, who do you want to be? How do you want to change your world, And then it's not measurable by things, and I like that much better. And you know what's really interesting to me about Abraham Lincoln is that was a lot of wisdom for a man who died when he was 56 years old. He had that wisdom at an age that is much younger than most individuals would realize. That you can accomplish anything if you hold it dear to you. If you have a singleness of purpose, if you set intentions, then you can have it. 56 years old, he died. He was assassinated. I was 60 when I came to lead this church. I was 60. It was my first experience as a senior minister. It was my first professional gig where I'm on my own. He didn't even live that long. So our singleness of purpose goes perpetual. As long as we're in the human body, there will be ways in which we can tap into those desires and have a deeper experience of all of these things. I'll tell you, lately I'm happy when I remember to take the trash out on Thursday night so that it doesn't sit back there and smell for another week. I am happy when I get done writing the Sunday message. I mean, different things bring us joy and happiness. Just know what those things are for you. I wanted to talk a moment about a beautiful woman whom I mentioned several weeks ago when I was teaching Seeds of Peace. One of the women that we studied, one of the great peacemakers, she won the Nobel Peace Prize, is Wangari Maathai. And she is an African woman born in central Kenya in 1940. She's passed. She's no longer living, but she did some remarkable things in her lifetime. She was born to peasant farmers, and they lived in a mud-walled home with no water, with no electricity. The women, it was the jobs of the women to go and fetch water. Some of them still do in some communities in those regions. They go to fetch water every day. They collect firewood. They tend to the garden that feeds their meals to their family. And Wangari Maathai loved her life. She loved that humble life, and she loved doing those chores with her mother when she was a little girl. And she took such an interest in it, and she happened to be blessed with winning a scholarship to get a beautiful education. And she took her passion, that desire and what she loves in that inner landscape of her own life, the desires of her heart, she took her passion and she became an environmentalist. She was educated. She is the first woman in all of Central Africa and East Africa. We're talking about a big territory here. She was the first woman to ever earn a PhD in that region. And in 1977, she founded the Green Belt movement, because by the time she went away to school and she came back home, and now they had this problem. They had stripped the forests, and now they have, all the problems that come along with that. And she wanted to dedicate her life to reversing that problem, and she did a marvelous thing. In 1977, she started the Green Belt movement, and the Green Belt is where they would plant a strip of trees, 1,000 trees long, and they plant them in rows. And as the trees grow and mature, they begin to help the habitat, the natural life, the animals and the insects and the things that help aerate the soil and all of that. And they also then, with the rows of trees, they are able to create windbreaks, and they're able to do soil conservation. It stops the erosion of the earth. And she not only created all these things, do you know, she taught women to plant seeds of trees and to nurture them. They had to the women would nurture them for 1 year, and then they were given a map and they were told where they could go plant these trees. And for every tree the women planted, they were given 10 cents, which was a significant way to supplement an income where money is sparse. In her lifetime, she and all of these women planted 30 million trees. She's the first environmentalist to ever receive the Nobel Peace Prize for revitalizing the environment. She had this passion in her heart, and she followed through, and she did great things. We want to plant seeds of love in our heart first, seeds of possibilities in our minds. Then we are equipped to go do the good work. Meister Eckhart, who I had to think for a minute when you said Tolle, because it's easy to get those two confused. Meister Eckhart, however, is a Christian mystic from the 13th century who said many yummy things. Listen to this quote. Sums it all up. The outward work will never be puny if the inward work is great. Right? That's right, someone says. The outward work will never be puny if the inward work is great. That's what we're talking about this morning, is how do we do that? How do we make a greatness in that inner work in this journey of life? And so what I want to leave you with this morning is a very specific focus. Not hocus pocus. A focus. It'll feel like magic if you do it well, because it'll be so easy. There are 3 things that I can give you that are constructive. It's like a lesson plan for this week, what you can practice this week on your own. And this is about tending to your own inner landscape. The first thing you have to do, if you're the gardener, you want to do some planting, you have to till the soil. When you get ready to do a garden, you turn the soil over. They call it tilling it. They turn it, they aerate it. They are creating a beautiful potential. Sometimes we amend the soil. We put some nutrients in it if it lacks something. Or we, in terms of your mind, the way we would amend our mind is by throwing in some positive vibes, some healthy thoughts, reminding ourselves of some spiritual truths. We do that by reading and by contemplating and by praying and wondering what more is possible in the most wonderful way, not in the dread and the fear, but what good things are possible. So you till the soil to get the soil ready. It's the creative medium in which we plant the seeds, but we are readying ourselves for a greater and more potent divine experience in our living. And then the second step, so you till the soil, and then the second step is that you plant the seeds. And you want to be real intentional in what seeds you are planting. Because if we don't pay attention, we're planting seeds of things that we might not want to sprout up in our experiences. So the gardener knows very specifically what he or she is planting. But what if you don't know what you want to plant? You know, I like that idea that sometimes I like to pray and open myself to God's will. Thy will be done. Whatever you can imagine for me is greater than anything I could imagine for myself, and I have had incredible things manifest in my life that truly I would not have imagined had I not surrendered to the greater possibility. But when we are choosing our seeds and we are very specifically planting something that we desire to experience, how do you know if you think you don't know. And what I want to tell you is, maybe you don't have to know, because something in you, you have an inner wisdom within you, and something within you does know what those desires are. See, there are universal desires. All of us would like a little more peace of mind. All of us have this desire for connection. They're telling us now in the brain science, the neuroplasticity and all of that, they're telling us about how they're really defining our need to connect with each other. That's why we desire to sit in a sanctuary on a Sunday morning to gather together. And, we really like to eat together too. We really like those potluck Sundays. We really love it when we dine with the dudes because they've made us lunch. So there's these universal things, and that includes love and joy. That includes order in our lives. You can live in chaos for a while, and eventually you desire to get more balanced and grounded again. And if those things don't help you, I always fall back on Ralph Waldo Emerson, who said something I just adore. That Emerson said, if you don't know, go outside and look for something that is not man-made. Look for those things that only God can do, and then ponder that. Expect to have a chill run up your spine, and to have those God bumps, as we sometimes say, to be impressed by the work, that this divine work, that this infinite intelligence of all the universe has not only created but continues to sustain. We are sourced and supplied by something that is so much greater than we are. We must appreciate it. Because when your heart recognizes the God stuff, everything else comes together with more ease. And then the third step. So first you got to till the earth, then you're going to plant the seeds. And then the third step is that you got to pull the weeds. Because it's not a matter of if you get weeds. There will be weeds. It's part of the process of life. And those of us who live in the desert know it well. I hear all of you snickering, those of you who have been working in your yards recently. We have a great way to weed, spiritually speaking. Little new seedlings need somebody to pull the weeds so they don't get choked off, so that they can grow and thrive. And we have a great non-toxic treatment, an organic treatment in this philosophy, in this teaching philosophy, in how to kill those kinds of weeds that we're talking about here. And it's called spiritual mind treatment. We treat weeds by having a stronger conviction for the positivity of the divine life, the power of the divine light that takes away all darkness. And in the way that we pray to remember, to convince ourselves of the power of good, brings us back to our sanity, and we know that it works. It's a certain solution. So we treat or we pray so that we can make sure that the love is flowing in our garden. Our theme all year here in the West Valley, here at this center, our theme we've chosen is Change Your World. And it is indeed time for us to begin to notice the shifts that are already occurring inside of us. We're not who we were. I can hardly keep up with it. Thank God I have grandkids that inform me when I'm off base. The world is changing. When I look at how much this community has changed since lockdown, it's phenomenal. It is a different culture than what existed before lockdown, because each one of us was personally impacted, and now we come together anew. We have planted fresh seeds. We have new first cause in place. And it's time for us to pay attention to those shifts that are organically happening on the planet and in our own lives. Or, as one of my new favorite authors, Aaron Nyquist, says, it's time for us to get swept up in what God is doing inside of us. An inner landscape. Something inside of us has been dormant for far longer than 221 years. Something inside of us is waiting, has been waiting, and is now emerging. And it's waiting for us to just be the vessels to which God's love can channel through and be active on this planet and changing the shape of life itself. We are cultivating immense possibilities right now. All of us are a part of that whole. So remember, your heart is always full of fertile seeds. So be purposeful and choose wisely. Aren't you wondering how I'm going to pray about cicadas and Abraham Lincoln? Well, let's see what happens. Take a deep breath. And taking the wise words of Dr. Kay Fontana, look for your nugget. For indeed, we have scattered seeds of possibility throughout this entire message. And it's time for us to choose wisely. And so we are very intentional in at first just tilling the soil and recognizing that right where we are, God is. The fullness of that intelligence that has created this entire universe is right here, right now, no matter where you are, no matter where you are hearing these words from. Each and every one of us is involved in this powerful vibration of truth. For we are tending to that inner landscape. We are tilling the soil, we are planting seeds, and we are really good caretakers of these gardens. We know how to yank out the weeds. We know how to redirect our own attention so that we can think the lofty thoughts of God. We dedicate ourselves to that Godward gaze so that we can recognize easily those things that are God-given. That we can remember again that the grace of God is flowing always and in all ways. I feel the love of God within me, and I know that it sparkens that inner light so that we can do that inner work. And I also am so firm in knowing that love of God abides at the core of each person living. Every living thing is created in the image and the likeness of God's sweet love. And therefore, in those days where we don't feel the sweetness, we can rest assured that God is still right there. That there has to be something else that is reconfiguring itself. There has to be another way for us to look out on the world or on the problems or the things that concern us in the shenanigans of life. And to see that what feels chaotic is simply the shifting and the moving and the changing. And so we willingly acknowledge that there are times in our lives where we are ready to change our beliefs, to change our perspective, to align ourselves again to the wholeness of life that is the spiritual goodness that supplies all substance that is necessary for living. So, wherever there is any appearance of anything physical that ails us, what we know, what we can be absolutely certain about is that there is this process of healing that is going on right now in our very own bodies. That there is a way that life, this intelligence of all creation just knits our any broken bones together, that allows muscles to heal, that pumps the blood through our heart and into our bodies and allows us to breathe and expand and to live fully these brilliant, radiant lives. So I say thank you, God, to remember again that there is this gorgeous process where the truth of how perfectly we are designed is revealed to us again. I speak a word of blessing on this spiritual community, knowing that all of our needs are continually met. And I'm so grateful for those beautiful individuals that consider themselves a part, an engaged piece of this whole. For together we do good work. I feel this joy in my heart, rejuvenating my spirit, bubbling up in this way of spiritual inspiration. And I know that it is contagious, that we fill ourselves up as vessels with this and we give thanks for it. So I say thank you, God. Thank you, life. Thank you, infinite spirit, for all of these blessings that we have witnessed, that we have named, that we have recognized, and all those that are about to be revealed to us. We give thanks for all of it. And with a joyful, grateful heart, I simply release the words of this prayer into that divine law that always responds. Yes, my child, yes. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. Amen.
Grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have. Everywhere I look and every face I see is love reflected shining back to me. I just give thanks for all these simple things, the joy and peace that gratitude brings. That's why I'm grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have. I am so grateful, grateful, grateful for all the love that I have.
Thank you, Bradford. Thank you, Reverend Karen, for such a fabulous message. It gives us the opportunity to do many things to help shift our world. So it is time for our joyful giving, and we have a box on the way into Papke Hall, one in the back, one out in home space. Or if you give through some other means, auto tithe or something like that, whatever it may be, just know that take that into your heart and say this joyful giving affirmation with me. I live in a consciousness of good. Divine love blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give. Again, thank you, God. And again, something I've done for a long time. Anyway, so thank you very much.
Please rise for our last song. Oh, it feels so good to be alive. Sing that. Oh, it feels so so good to be alive.
All right, thank you, Bradfords. If you will, repeat after me. I plant seeds of love in my heart.
I plant seeds of love in my heart.
I plant seeds of possibility in my mind.
I plant seeds of possibility in my mind.
And then I go and do the work.
And then I go and do the work.
And so it is.